Here we go. Question 1, simplify the expression below. You're multiplying these two guys together. Start with your numbers first. 5 times 7, that is 35. You can cross out A. Goodbye. Now we're going to multiply the x's together. X to the 4th times x to the 1st. If you remember your rule, when you're multiplying exponents, you're actually adding the exponents. So x to the 4th times x to the 1st, that would be x to the 5th. So I can cross out B, and the y, there's nothing to multiply with the y, so you're just going to bring that down as part of the problem. Your answer is D. What is the range? So if I use Dr. XY ID, the range, that's talking about the y values here. And that would be your dependent variables. So the question is asking what are the y values of this equation here if they give us the domain, which are the x values. So I'm going to write the x values here on the table. We're going to go to our calculator, type it in the calculator, go to your table. We're going to fill in the missing values for y that correspond with our values for x. So we're going to go to -4 for x. So when x is -4, y is 14. Well, if you look right here, there's only one answer choice that's going to have 14 in it, but I'll show you the other ones here. Let's go to 0 for x. When x is 0 right here, y is 2. We got that. Let's go to 2. When x is 2, y is -4. And when x is 6, you can see that it's -16. And those are our corresponding values. So remember Dr. XY ID, and then circle the part, the domain, and the range, and it'll tell you which one is x and y. Question 3, simplify the expression below. Start with your numbers. 36 divided by 6. If I do 36 divided by 6, I get a whole number of 6. So now, if you don't remember your rules for dividing, you can actually write them out, or write your exponents out in expanded form. So r to the 3rd, that would give me 3 r's. R to the 5th would give me 5 r's. And then what you want to do is cancel out what I call sets of r's. And then circle what you have left. Notice we have 2 of them that are on the bottom part of the fraction. So that means when I rewrite this fraction, and I'll do that over here. Here's my fraction bar. When I rewrite this fraction, I have 6 because it's a whole number up top. But notice I have 2 r's that are left on the bottom, so I have to write that as r squared on the bottom. Now, if I look at my s values right here, pretend like I have 12 s's up top and 2 s's on bottom. And if I cancel out those, I would be left with 10 up top. And t squared divided by t squared, that's just going to cancel out because you have an equal number of t's. And so you just match up A. But the rule, if I go back and I look at the rule here, the rule is to subtract exponents. So this is what it would look like if I apply the rule. So the number's 36 divided by 6, that's going to give me 6. I'm going to do r to the 3rd divided by r to the 5th. If I do r to the 3 minus 5, I will get, that's actually -2. If I do s to the 12th, I'll write that over here, s to the 12th divided by s squared, that's going to give me s to the 10th power. And then obviously if I do 2 minus 2, that's nothing, that's just going to go away. Now the rule here is if you have a negative exponent, and the saying that I use in class is, it's change the sign and cross the line. So I change it to positive and cross the line, and you'll still see that you end up with A. So if you're not good with the dividing, write it out in expanded form and cross out your, what I call sets that you can cross out, and then wherever the leftover letters are at, then that's where they're going to stay in the particular part of the problem. Number 4, simplify the expression. So we have a distribution that needs to take place here. 7 times x, -7 times x is -7x. -7 times -3, positive 21. So we're done with that. Jump over to the positive 5 that we're going to distribute. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times -2x is -10x. And then what you want to do is you want to bring down the -4x. After you get done distributing, start combining like terms here. So we're going to put the x's together first. So that's -7, minus 10, so negative 7x minus 10x, that's going to give me negative 17x. But I need to go further more into the negative, so negative 17 minus 4 is going to put me at negative 21x. And then you're just going to combine your numbers here. 21 plus 15 is 36, and our answer is B. Which representation, number 5, does not show a function? Remember the love advice that I gave you here? You do not want to repeat dating your x's. If you repeat the x value, the same x person, then that is not a function. So think of it using my dating advice. If you date your x more than once, your life will not function. So look at the x's right here. Did we repeat any of the x's? No, we did not. So that is a function. Yes, this is a function. But the question is asking, does not show a function. So this is not the answer. Look at the x's. Notice they're different x's. That's a function, but we're looking for the not. Look at the x's here, letter C. They do not repeat, but we're looking for the not. This is a function. But if you look at letter D, I can do the vertical line test here, and you'll see that you're going to cross those x's more than once there. You're going to cross it twice there, and twice there. This is not a function. Number 6, a cube has a side length of 3x to the 7th y to the 2nd z. What is the volume? Volume is side times side times side. So if one side is 3x to the 7th y squared z, then that means all three sides are that. And so you actually write down one side, and we're going to take it to the third power because it's side times side times side. Now, if you don't remember your rules for exponents here like this, remember that the little 3 right here on the outside of the parentheses tells you how many times to stamp out this guy right here. So if we want to, we could stamp that out 3 times. And then we're just going to apply our multiplication rule that we did for question 1 in this particular problem. We'll write it out one more time here. Oops. That's x to the 7th y squared. My handwriting's not too great right there. So now start with your numbers. 3 times 3 is 9 times another 3 is 27. Cross out C, cross out D. Now remember our rule for multiplying with exponents. If we're multiplying the exponents together, we're actually going to add the exponential number, the little number, together. So 7 plus 7 plus 7, that's 21 x's. Or in other words, we're just counting how many we have of each. We have 2 y's here, another set of y's there, 2, and 2 more there, 2, 4, 6. So we have y to the 6th. And then look at your z. We have 1, 2, 3 z's. So we'll match that up, and it looks like our answer is B. For booyah. 7, simplify. When you are subtracting and you have the parentheses here, you have to apply the rule. Remember what we said previously, you do not subtract polynomials, we actually add opposites. And there's our bell. Come on, bell. So we're going to add the opposites. So the opposite of subtracting, or a negative 8x, is going to be a positive 8x squared. The opposite of negative 3x is going to be a positive 3x. The opposite of negative 1 is going to be a positive 1. So now we're good to go. Let's combine like terms. Let's put our x squareds together. I have 3 of them on the left, 8 of them on the right. Together we have 11 x squareds. Let's look here. Let's look at the x's. I have negative 2 on the left, positive 3 on the right. That means I have positive 1x. And then let's combine the numbers. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. And so our answer is C. Number 8, they give us 2 functions below. How do they compare to each other? Well, if I put these in y equals mx plus b, which I have already in y equals mx plus b, I notice the slopes are the same. If you have the same slopes, that means they are parallel, right? So obviously I know my answer is going to be C. The graph of f is parallel to the graph of G. But chances are, if you miss this question, this is probably what you did. You went into your calculator, and you graphed both of these, which normally that's what you would do if you can't make the conclusion using the slopes or the y-intercepts. So we'll assume that we're just going to have the calculator do all the work for us. So I'll type in half. I could have done 0.5, but we'll just do a half. And then you hit graph, and you said, oh, they have the same y-intercept because it looks like they're crossing at the same place right there. But actually, if you zoom in, I'm going to zoom in, you'll see that one of them crosses at 1, the other one crosses at half. If you didn't see that, you can look right here, guys. Look, they have different y-intercepts. They do not have the same y-intercept. So it can't be B. Chances are you probably picked B. They're not less or more steep because the slopes are the same. So the steepness did not change. So our answer is C. Number 9, simplify. Start with your number, 35. Start with your numbers. 35 divided by 7. That's a whole value of 5. I have 8 p's up top, 5 p's on bottom. If I subtract those, that would give me 3 left up top. And I know that the letter P stays up top because I have more than I have on the bottom. But here's where you guys got a little confused, this little negative exponent. Remember our rule, if it's a negative exponent up top, that means it's a positive exponent on the bottom. So I'm going to take -6 and I'm going to put that with the q's that are already on the bottom. So if I have 7 of them on bottom and I change the sign and cross the line, now I don't have 7 on the bottom, I have 13 on the bottom. Because our rule says when you multiply with exponents, you simply add or count how many you have. So it'd be q to the 13. So my answer would be C. So be careful with those negative exponents. Change the sign, cross the line. 10. This one's pretty easy here. You just got to look at the vocabulary. You have a triangle. They give you these 3 side lengths. Write a polynomial that represents the perimeter. That means you're just adding these 3 guys together. So you just find the one that adds those together. It's C. Perimeter. Add up the sides. 11, simplify. Ooh, we got to have a little subtraction here, so we need to turn that to positive, and then we're going to negate. We're going to change everything. So this becomes negative, the 3a becomes positive, the 7b is going to turn negative. Now we're good to go. Now we can combine like terms. Start with the letter A. I'm going to circle all the a's that I see. Only the a's. 4a plus 3a. That is 7a. Good. Let's look at the letter B. Just B's. 5b minus 7b. That would be negative 2b. Okay. Now we have AB's. AB's only go with AB's. This is negative 6ab here, positive 14ab. Negative 6 plus 14, that would be positive 8ab. Well, if you look at all your answer choices, the AB is negative, so our answer is not given. The function f of x is defined as, they give you this equation. We're going to write this in kid-friendly terms. We don't like to use f of x. We like to use y equals. Don't forget about that little negative sign in front of x squared, guys. Some of you tend to read a little too fast. I make that same mistake sometimes. And look at the difference between f of x and f of negative 4/7. What is the obvious thing they did? They replaced x. That's what they're asking you to do. Replace x with negative 4/7 and give me an answer for y. So when you are given x, stow it in the calculator. We're going to let the calculator do the math for us. Negative 4 over 7. We're going to store that to the value of x. So every time I hit the letter x, the calculator will replace and do the math for me. So now type this guy in. Negative x squared minus 7x plus 4. You're going to hit enter. Boom, it gives you your answer, 376 over 49, A. Use that, stow it, only if they give you what x is. If they don't give you what x is, you cannot type it in the calculator. All right, 13 was a tough question. It was a booger here. The perimeter, they're talking about adding up all the sides of a rectangular garden is 82 feet. So off to the side, perimeter equals 82 feet. I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. The length of the garden is 5x minus 2. So I'm going to do 5x minus 2 here, and we're also going to do 5x minus 2 here. The width can be expressed by using x plus 7. Let's see, x plus 7 on this side, x plus 7 on this side. The question is asking, what are the dimensions? Now, what some kids do, they come down here, A, B, C, and D, and they just go, well, I'm just going to add these two numbers up, and I'm going to pick the one that equals 82, like letter B, 41 plus 41, that's 82. That's not how you do that. What you have to do is you have to add all of these four sides together and set it equal to 82. All right, so let's add all four of these sides up and set it equal to 82. Let's start with the x's. We're going to do this in our head here. 5x plus 5x, that's 10x. There's another x is 11, and one more here is 12. So I have a total of 12 x's. We'll write that down, 12x. Let's get a different color here. Now let's add the numbers here. 7 plus 7, that's 14. 14 minus 2 is 12. 12 minus 2, that's positive 10. So now we are going to start doing opposites. We need to get x by itself. So positive 10 becomes minus 10. Bring down the 12x. 82 minus 10 is 72. Do the opposite here, or our last step is to divide by 12. And you're going to get an answer of 6 for x. That is not the length of each side. What you have to do is you have to take x and plug it in right here. And you also have to plug it in right here for this guy. I know it's getting kind of messy. To get the actual dimensions. So if I start right here, if I plug a 6 in for x, 6 plus 7, that's going to give me a side length of 13. And if I plug in 6 right here, 5 times 6 is 30 minus 2, that's going to give me a side length of 28. So our answer is A. 14 says simplify. We're adding, so we're good to go. We're G to G, baby. So let's start with our x to the 6's. I have 3 on the left, 7 on the right. That gives me a total of 10, x to the 6th power. Match up x to the thirds. I have positive 7 on the left, negative 7 on the right. Well, if you have the same amount that is opposite of each other, they cancel out. Now, don't get confused here. Negative 3 and negative 3, that does not cancel out. That's negative 3 minus 3. That means you're going further in the negative. It's actually negative 6. So be careful with that. Our answer is B. 15, just like 14, we're adding. That means we're G to G. We're good to go. Start with our first one, x to the thirds. Go with x to the thirds. 7 on the left, negative 3 on the right. 7 minus 3. 4 of them. 4x to the thirds. Let's grab a different color here. Now let's look at our x to the fourths. I have negative 7 plus 3. That's actually negative 4 x to the fourth. And then we'll finish with our numbers. Negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14. Now if you look at your answer choices, the way that you write it correctly would be to put the one term that has the highest power first. So we're going to put x to the fourth. X to the third is positive, so we're going to do plus 4x to the third, and then we'll put our number at the end. So that'll be in good algebraic form there. So now we'll just match up our answer, and it looks like our answer is B. 16, the area of a rectangle. We're going to draw a rectangle here. So the area, oh, that's a bad looking rectangle. 16, the area of a rectangle is 63x to the 5th, y to the 9th. Draw a rectangle. I'm going to place that 63x to the 5th, y to the 9th. We're going to put that on the inside since we're talking about area. The question's asking, find the width if they give you the length, that is 9x to the 4th. I'm going to have to erase this part right here so I can see that y to the 6th. So they're asking you, what's in blue? 9x to the 4th, y to the 6th, times question mark equals our area. So work backwards. If you divide those, then we'll get our answer. So 63 divided by 9, that would be 7. And remember our rule for exponents, when you're dividing, you subtract. the exponent. So 5 minus 4, that would leave me with 1x. 9 minus 6, that would leave me with 3y's. So our answer is C. Now you could work backwards. You could take what's in blue right here and multiply times each answer choice and see which one is correct. That will give you an area of that. Might take you a little bit more time, but that's another strategy. 17, which of the following expressions represents the perimeter of the figure below? We're adding up all the sides right here. We're going to add all of those together. So start with your x's. 2 plus 2x, that's 4x. That's not an x, that's an x squared, so we're going to skip that. Plus another 2x, that's going to give me a total of 6x. I only have one x squared, so that x squared is going to go by itself. And then let's look at our numbers here. -3 minus 3 is -6. Now we talked about how to write this in good algebraic form. Start with the highest power first, x squared. The 6x is positive. Put our number at the end. You'll see that our answer is D. Don't make the mistake. You cannot add x squareds and x's together. They have to match up. Number 18, which expression is equivalent to this? It's kind of blurry here. Z to the A times Z to the B divided by Z to the C. Ooh-wee. Start at the top. Remember our rule. When we're multiplying exponents, we're actually adding them together. And then our rule said when you're dividing exponents, you are subtracting. So all you have to do is look at your formula chart to figure out what are you doing to the exponents. So match that guy up. It's letter C. Use the formula chart. Come on, guys. What is the value of this to the 0 power? Anything. It doesn't matter what it is to the 0 power is always 1. 20. Simplify. We're adding. We're good to go. We'll put x squareds with x squareds. 9 plus 7. That'll give me 16 of those x squareds. -2 plus 1 is -1 x. So match it up. Our letter C is the answer. 21. The first 6 numbers in a pattern, that's a typo there, in a pattern are shown below. Now I gave you a hint. Put your answers in kid-friendly form. What that means is instead of using the letter N, use the letter X. So x squared over 3, x squared over 6, 2x over 6. And they're asking you which one of these represents the nth term. That means any term. Well, look, guys, we put it in kid-friendly form so we can use the calculator to go in and look at our table. These are answers in the table. These are my answers, the y values. So I'm going to go right to the answer here. The answer is B. So we're going to type this in. Let's get to the fraction here. We're going to type in x squared over 3. We're going to go to the table. And let's look here, the first 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are your x values. Start with the first one. Notice I get 1/3. Yep, 1/3. The second number is 4/3. 4/3. The third number is 3, and so on and so forth. So whenever you see it not in kid-friendly form or not using the letter X like that, change it to X and put it in the calculator and see if that table will help you out. Here's our last one. The graph of a linear function is shown below. Which of the following represents the same relationship? I'm going to skip these two guys and I'm going to go straight to my tables and see if these points right here are on the line. So let's plot 0, 3. Go over 0 and up 3. Did I hit the line? No. Let's look at letter D here. Let's plot -3, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's one. Let's try -2, 0. Yes. Let's try 0, 3. Up 0 or over 0, up 3. Did I hit the line? Nope. Now look at letter B. They're trying to trick you because that is not in y equals mx plus b. They switched the mx and the b around. And if you remember, the number here at the very end, the letter B, that's your y-intercept. Does this right here, or this line, have a y-intercept of +2? Well, +2 would be right here. Does this line go through +2? No, it actually goes through -2. So just by doing a process of elimination for B, C, and D, I know my answer is A. Now, if you started with letter A, and let's erase this here, you could put that in y equals mx plus b. So to do that, you do opposites here. Move the x term first. So if it's negative 2 on the left, it's going to be positive 2 on the right. Bring down the minus 6 or negative 6. Your last step is to divide by 3. Divide everything by 3. Do some housekeeping. Let's clean this guy up here. I wanted a different color here. Y equals 2/3 x. And if I do negative 6 divided by 3, that's negative 2 or minus 2. So start with your y-intercept. Does the line have a y-intercept of negative 2? Yes. Here's our slope. Remember, it's rise over run. So you go up 2 and run to the right 3. Do you hit the line? Yes. Go up 2 and run to the right 3. Do you hit the line? Yes. Up 2 over 3. And so if you started with A, you would know automatically that that was the correct answer.